so different.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, my We Are Not So Different family. Thank you so much for choosing to tune into another episode of We Are Not So Different. Today's guest I have with me this morning is Miss, now before I butcher your name, Jessica Lundgren.
Lundgren.
Lundgren. So it's
Pretty
as
close.
it's spelled. Yeah, I was debating that before before we connected. I was like, I wonder if it's Lundgren or Lundgren, but either way, I was prepared. So Miss Jessica Lundgren, thank you so much for coming on. We Are Not So Different. We appreciate it anytime, because I know you're a busy lady, and I appreciate the time that you have chosen to spend with us this morning.
Well, thank you for giving me the time, and I
Yes.
am super excited to be here. I love talking about dating, relationships, love, men, all of that jazz. So
Yes.
I'm ready for this.
Awesome. And I think it's not to date the show or whatever, but I think it's awesome the timing since Valentine's Day is right around the corner. So any of my men and my ladies that are looking for that I almost said that long time love, but maybe you're not looking for Mr. Right, you're looking for Mr. Right now. Either way, Jessica, she gonna help us out this morning. So Miss Jessica is a certified life coach. And when it comes to your community and love and marriage, so often we are unconscious of the beliefs we have that are directing every choice we make. When we become fully aware of what's within, we bring back power to make the decision that will give us the results we actually desire. That is her mantra. So we're going to talk relationships this morning, y'all. So y'all know the drill. Find your favorite spot on the couch, get your favorite drink, whether that's Kool-Aid or Cavassier, and snuggle on into this conversation. Miss Jessica, all of my guests get the same 2 questions before we jump into the topic at hand, just to give us a little peek, a little insight into your world. Question number 1. If you had the undivided attention of an audience of your choosing, who would said audience be, and what would you tell them?
I saw this question and I was like, oh, this is a good one. I haven't been asked this one before. So I had to think on that for a little bit. But I think the audience that I love speaking to is the woman who wants more, who is just at a point in their life where they're not getting the results that they want, whether it's in their relationship or their health or their finances or just personal development in general. And they know that there's more out there, and they have this deep drive and desire to grow and be more and be the best version of themselves. And their heart is open to soak it all up and to really just get after life and everything that it has to offer. So those are my ladies.
All right.
And I think that the biggest, my mission that I really feel like I've been called to is to help women really own their true worth and value, and know in the deepest part of their hearts and soul that worth is not earned. It's not determined by anybody else. It's not determined by a man who says, yeah, they want to be with you in a relationship, or they break up with you because, whatever the 100 of reasons, but to just stand firm in the truth that you are an amazing woman, you are so worthy, and you have so much to offer, and there's no reason to settle for anything less.
Yes, girlfriend. Yes. I don't think you could have put that together any more neatly, any more it's wrapped up with a little bow and everything, with a little bling on it. So it's sparkling and attractive. Yes. I love that.
Yeah, it's just, I'm so passionate about that. I think it's a message that we need to hear over and over and over and over again, because it's easy to hear the little voices that are saying otherwise, that are, whether it's from your childhood 30, 40, 50 years ago, or, from a stranger or friend yesterday. Like, we all need that reminder.
Yes, we do, girlfriend. Yes. Okay. I already have questions. I'm like just on the answer, but I have one more before we jump in. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So, if you had the opportunity to speak to a younger version of yourself, let's say 4 or 5 year old Jessica, what do you think little Jessica needs to hear?
That message.
You like that part? That
Yeah. Yeah. Just, I think I know, like, I know my parents love me. I know that they did everything that they possibly could for me. They are incredible people. And I think that I really needed to hear that, as like a little girl, that I'm loved, that my dad is proud of me, that, um, I'm good. Like, the person that I am, the little kid that I am, is just who I'm meant to be. And I think so oftentimes, I know for me, like in my childhood and growing up, like, I didn't hear it enough. Like, as an adult looking back, like, I know my parents love me, but I don't think I heard it enough to really believe it growing into my like adolescent years and early 20s.
Mm, I feel that. I understand. So I guess I have to ask, like, what circumstance barring out the whole parents thing, because I know, you felt like you were loved. Great. Um, but because what I know is something had to move you to want to do this. You said it's your message, you have a passion. So what triggered said passion to want to be able to affirm, empower women the way that you do?
Yeah, that is it's like my life story.
Well, we got time,
But
sis.
but boiled down into the gist of everything, I got into my first dating relationship at 16. I had met him in Hawaii. I live in California, and I just felt like, being a naive 16-year-old, that it was fate. Like, how often do you meet someone in another state and then, wind up living close enough to actually like date? It was a very juvenile relationship. Like, it was very awkward. We could hardly like be on our own, just the two of us. Like, we always had to have like friends around. And he ended up breaking up with me 6 months after. And he told me it was because I was a drama queen. And I wasn't like, we had never fought over anything. There was never any tension. Like, I didn't get it. I didn't understand. And I was very unconscious to the reality that I chose to accept that label as part of my identity.
Wow.
And after that experience, like going into college, I just went down this like downward spiral of just unhealthy relationships, really, um, getting into relationships or situationships, they weren't even really relationships, let's be real here, that were really unfulfilling, that left me feeling more unlovable and just depleted and craving love and acceptance. And I wasn't aware of the fact that all of the promiscuity that I was partaking in was really having a negative impact on my self-worth and my self-esteem. And it wasn't until, I want to say, like 5+ years later, where I really hit my rock bottom. I've had a few rock bottoms, but I hit like probably my biggest rock bottom. I ended up contracting a curable STD, and I was just disgusted with myself. My eyes were opened to my situation, like where I was at in my situation, and it was just like, how did I get here? who am I? And this is not what I want my life to be like. Like, I didn't recognize who I was anymore. And it was a wake-up call. It was a very loud wake-up call. And it was the beginning of what I call my 10-year deep dive self-discovery, where I just, I was seeking out answers like, why am I attracting these guys? How come I keep getting into these relationships? Am I doing something wrong? What's wrong with me that, these are my results? And I uncovered, in one of the seminars that I was attending, that one of my biggest core beliefs was that I was unlovable, that I was not worthy of experiencing like a deep soul love. And whenever you believe something, whether you're conscious of it or not, it's what you're going to attract. And so, because I didn't believe that I, was worthy of that, even if I met a really great guy, which I did, who were interested in me and wanted to treat me well and date me and honor me, like, I self-sabotaged, I, turned them down, I was not interested in them. And this is all stuff that I was not conscious of until, many years later. And now, like, knowing what I know, like, I want to speak into women's lives. I want to help them get the clarity and understanding and build the confidence that I didn't have. Because we all are worthy of like love, and it's something that you can create now. Like, you don't have to wait for a man. You don't have to wait for a relationship. Like, you have the power within you to create it for yourself right now.
I like that. And I 100% agree. We have the power to do that. And I think, like, in my unprofessional opinion, because of course I don't have like any like background in this, but it's like, in order for you to properly love someone else, like, you kind of have to start with you first, right? Like
100%. Yeah.
So if we have the capacity to create that love, that self-love, get to know ourselves, get to honor ourselves, get to appreciate and value ourselves, then I think then we can look forward to the whole, okay, now I'm ready not to necessarily just be loved or love on someone, but someone to share my space, like, and share like experiences and stuff with. I don't know. That's just me rambling in my unprofessional opinion. So you went on this 10-year deep dive of self-revelation and knowledge. So how long have you been doing what you're doing now?
Yeah, so I recently opened the doors to my coaching practice, Character Life Coaching. It's been about a year now. However, people, just friends, naturally like come to me, asking for just encouragement and support. It's always been a role that I have just loved. That's fulfilling to me. I feel like I've been blessed with the gift of empowerment and encouragement. And I just feel like, again, like, this is something that I've been called to do. When I see a woman's eyes light up, or the light bulb goes off, and they've just uncovered this belief that they didn't know they had, or they have clarity on something that was so confusing, I get so fired up, because just like where they're going, the next phase in their life is just going to be so amazing, and I got to have a small part in helping them get there. It's so rewarding, and I love it.
It's got to be the best. Okay, so knowing that you're called, knowing that it's something that you're passionate about, and then knowing that you, like you said, you get to play a part in literally rearranging someone's like their life trajectory. And as a direct result, they're the people whom they encounter. So it's like exponential benefits.
Yeah.
So, wow.
Yeah. I
Okay.
think that's what life is about though, right? Like life can be hard. We're thrown some curveballs, and those curveballs are used to help encourage and inspire other people who are walking in the same path that, you've walked. And um I think everybody has that.
I agree. And why not use whatever experience or lesson or gift or passion that you have? If it could help someone avoid some of the same like pitfalls or issues that you went through, if you can help like dodge that, why not, right? Why not?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so one of the things that as I was, and I'm going to use the term researching now instead of stalking your website, you touched on uncovering limiting beliefs. So I guess what you've discussed thus far as it pertains to you having, like, genuinely having the belief that you were unlovable, but like you were able to do this 10-year deep dive, not to minimize anything, the process, but like say, okay, you're dealing with clients now, right? Who
Yeah.
are however old they are. How do we begin the process of uncovering these limiting beliefs? And can I say without it taking 10 years, can I say that?
Yeah,
I mean, with no
definitely.
disrespect
Yeah.
at all. Like, how do we do that?
Yeah. It definitely doesn't need to take 10 years. I think if you are being intentional and you're actually, wanting to discover what's holding you back and blocking you, it could happen in a couple of months, or less. You don't know what you're going to uncover. I think the quickest way to, well, there's two like exercises that I do primarily with clients who feel like they, are being blocked in some way or another. And the first is to just, look back and see, okay, are there any patterns? Maybe it's like, like I did, you have a pattern where you keep choosing to get into these friends with benefits type relationships, or you keep choosing men that are needy, or you keep getting into you keep finding yourself interacting with men who who really want to be with you, but you end up breaking up with them first for no real reason. Like, if you see a pattern like that, it's pretty like certain that there's some sort of like core belief that you have that is like leading you to act in those ways. So that's the first one. The second one is to, and this can be really hard, depending on like, you know, your past and how much you've actually processed and worked through it. Sometimes when you go back to your past, it's important to have a professional like be there with you, like a therapist or something, if you've gone through something really traumatic or something. But to go back to, a very painful memory of your past, whether it's childhood or adolescence, or, it's in those moments when we make our core decisions, where we really come to a core belief that is that we're making out of survival.
Mm.
And we tend to carry those beliefs with us through our entire adult life unless we can go back and actually identify what the belief is, why we made it, and do we really need it now anymore? Is it still serving us, or is it hindering us? And I find a lot of times people who have gone through like some sort of like abuse, whether it's physical or emotional, mental abuse, there's some sort of key decision where it's like, I'm not deserving of this, or I have to work to earn this, or I didn't get the love that I needed as a child. And so, and you get some sort of belief about love and relationship and men, because a lot of times it's between like you and your father, you and your mother,
Mhm.
that dynamic. and you carry it into your adult life, and now you're operating out of those old beliefs, but with different men that aren't your father, or the relationship dynamics that you had in your family with your mother or father, and you're repeating the pattern.
So decisions that were made out of survival, like that's the thing that stuck out to me the most. So if you're a younger person and you've experienced this event, trauma or otherwise, but then you've needed to make a decision in order to survive going forward. This is what I'm going to do, or this is what I'm not going to do, or this is what I'm going to believe. So now we have fully formed adults, right? And they're coming into your office, and you guys have, for lack of better terminology, because I don't know the jargon, uncovered this belief or this decision that was made in order to survive. Like you thought it was necessary in order for you to move forward. So then what? Because that sounds like and I feel like I'm rambling. So forgive me. I hope you're trying to some way try to take this gobbledygook that I'm giving to you and form it into a question. But it's like, I know you said if it was really, really traumatic, then maybe it's best to have like a counselor or a therapist or whatever near. But like, say you don't, like I'm in your office and now we've uncovered this and you're like, oh, like, so I'm not like, they're not on the verge of like a breakdown or anything, but they're really coming, like, I'm sure it hits them like a ton of bricks. And now they're like, oh, wow. So now what, I guess, is my question.
Yeah. So now it's a matter of rebuilding the belief that you want to have. What is something that's more empowering, that is actually going to serve you and is truth? I had a past client of mine who experienced, emotional and mental abuse with her father. And it was something that she was aware of and that she had, been working on for a while. But it wasn't, she hadn't made the connection that her issues and her being stuck in her dating relationships was connected to her relationship with her father, because how she saw her father and the relationship or lack thereof, the trust that she didn't have with her father, she identified that with all men. And there was this belief that she had to work to get love, because that's what it was like with her father. She had to earn his love. Therefore, with men and in relationships, she has to earn his love. And that means that when she's in a relationship, or not committed or exclusive, but just like dating a guy, she's been on a couple dates, she has to earn the good treatment. She has to earn being honored and cherished. She has to stick with the relationship, even if it's not a good fit, because that's how you get love. And of course, that's not serving her, right? She's not going to find her quality man. She's not going to be treated the way that she deserves. And so working together, and this is the awesome thing about having a dating coach, is like when you go out on a date or a couple dates, and you come back to your dating coach and you actually process together. Like you say, okay, this is what I felt. This is what happened. I'm confused by this, or I'm not sure about this. And you have somebody who's in your corner, who's helping you ask you the right questions, who's helping you uncover, okay, how do I really feel about this person? How do I want to feel? Or what am I going to feel like when I know it's the right person? And so having someone to come back into your corner to help you process while you're actually walking the journey is so helpful. And that's what she did. She would come back, and she actually had this one experience where she had so much anxiety after going on dates with this guy that she was getting sick, but she kept doing it. And she finally brought it up to me, and I was like, girl, Like, your body is trying to tell you something. Listen, like, you're having these panic attacks and this anxiety because why? And it clicked to her, like, yeah, I'm not comfortable around this guy. Like, and she was staying with him because of a core belief that she had made with the relation due to the relationship she had with her father.
Um,
So working with me, we replaced that belief to, like, I deserve to feel good. Like, I am worthy of love. Like, I don't need to work for it. Like, and so, and it's a journey. Like, that's another thing that's really important to keep in mind. It's not something that just like, oh, I immediately changed the belief.
right,
Like,
right.
what's happening in your brain is, like, when you have an old belief that you've had for 10 or 20 or 30 years, the neural pathways in your brain are so ingrained that it's just habit. You just automatically go back to that. When you start replacing it, you're actually training your mind to take a different path, and it's not as ingrained yet, right? So you constantly have to be conscious of, what am I thinking? What am I telling myself? How am I speaking to myself? And the more you work on that new belief, the more ingrained it gets, and eventually the old beliefs just, they get wiped out. And now you're working on this new belief, and it's a habit.
Yes. And once again, I want to reiterate, I wasn't minimizing the whole 10-year thing, because if it takes 10 years, and so be it. If it on the other side of that 10 years is you have created new neural paths and you're positive and light and all the good stuff, great. I was just like wondering like how that goes. So I really wasn't like trying to like minimize that at
No,
all.
the 10 years was a lot more. It's the truth is that your self-development path, it never ends.
Never.
You're always growing,
Right.
you're always learning more, you're always discovering beliefs that you have and rewiring them and stuff like that. But to really like heal and like rewire beliefs, it takes, I'd say, 3 to 6 months. Yeah, 3 to 6 months. And that's, you know, that's being intentional and working with someone to help you do that. But healing is a process. Like, there's no set time.
Right.
Everybody's different. And, like you said, if it takes you 5 or 10 years, and at the end of that, you're an incredible light that can help other people, like, it's worth it. It's
So
so
be
worth
it.
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, one of the other topics on that stood out to me was how to better control your emotions to build intimacy. Now, I am of the opinion that this is for everybody, not just women. Mm.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
This
And
is
not just in
something,
relationships.
yes, point blank, period, like life, because everyone has emotions and everyone, and they're subject to what is around us. So yes, if you could touch on that for just a little bit, for I'm taking notes mentally.
I think the for like that's so open-ended. You left me so much space to go anywhere with
No,
that.
I know.
Um, I think the first most important thing to say about emotions is that they're all valid and that they're all important. I think there's a lot of talk about, like, oh, anger is bad, or, shame, guilt, like, you don't want to feel those or experience those. The truth is that we all experience them. We've been given these emotions for a reason, and they actually are really, really good indicators. They kind of are like, I like to call them like signs or flashing lights, like, if you get triggered by something and it makes you angry, you can respond in a few ways. You can beat yourself up for getting angry, you can blame someone else for making you angry, or you can get curious and say, oh, that triggered me. Like, why did I get angry about that? Let's go a little bit deeper. And of, again, it's a habit, like you're training, it's a way of training yourself to and building a habit. So if you're someone who in a relationship, when someone says something and it triggers you, like you've probably like triggers you to like an explosive anger, or maybe it triggers you to close yourself off and not like interact for a couple of days. I've been in relationships with both kinds, and neither of them are healthy, like on an extreme. And oh, I just lost my train of thought. I hate when that happens.
But it happens. You're
Yeah.
human.
Yeah, so it's I remember. So it's likely that you've trained yourself to react that way for many, many years. And so it takes time to, again, rewire your brain and train yourself to say, okay, I just got triggered. I'm feeling really angry right now. Like, I'm going to give myself 5 minutes or 10 minutes, or sometimes you have to start, okay, I'm going to give myself 24 hours to calm myself down. And then I'm going to process, okay, why did I get angry? What did it really trigger? Is it anger also is a secondary emotion?
I've heard
Anger
that.
anger is always like a level above hurt or fear. And so it's always so good to start just asking yourself questions. And I read this story, and I've been bringing it up a lot now when I'm, being interviewed and talking to other people, because it really convicted. But it was this story about this man who was in this rowboat, and I'm kind of like, I might like mess up the details, but basically it was like really foggy or something, and he's rowing and rowing and rowing, and all of a sudden he slams into another boat. He gets livid. He's so angry. He's ready to like point his finger and start yelling at this other person in the boat, and the fog clears and there's no one in the other boat. The moral of the story is that the anger that like was already inside of him, he had the anger within before he even hit the boat. Hitting the boat was the trigger that brought the anger to the surface. And that was really convicting to me, because we go through life and we experience these things, and we don't process. We let the emotions sit and stay, or we ignore it, or we're not even aware that it's there. But our body is like, it traps in our emotions. Our emotions sit inside unless we intentionally, release them and process them and let them go. And when you get anger, you get triggered, it's from something that happened to you in the past that you haven't worked through, that you haven't let go. And yeah, so that's, it was just like, we can blame someone else for making us feel a certain way, or for triggering us, or bringing up emotions, but the reality is those emotions were already inside.
Wow. That's crazy, because my friends know, like, I make a joke, but it's really not a joke. I'll say like anger is my default emotion. Like, I'm okay being angry. I don't like being sad. I don't like it, but I'm okay with anger. It's like my default. It's my safe space. But now that you said it, it's like, what it really is, that underlying emotion that's like, oh, so I love and hate interviews like this where it makes me think. So before I digress, yeah, I'll definitely be chewing on that later tonight. Greatest needs of men versus women. And I think that, no, I'm not going to say what I'm going to say until you finish saying what you're going to say. I think it's important for both sides to recognize this, because I feel like there's so much that goes unsaid. Like, it really is true. Like, we are built and wired differently, men and women. So you could be having a total conversation and it's going over both of your heads because you're thinking something is being said when it's not, or something is being said and you're not perceiving it. So yes, greatest needs of men versus women.
Yeah, this is definitely, I had a lot of aha moments when I started learning that men need different things than women. And we're not taught this, which is, I think, it's a tragedy because there's a lot of like misunderstanding and miscommunication because of it. I can talk for an hour. We could, it's a really big topic. We can go on and on and on about the differences between men and women. It's not just needs. Like, our brains are wired differently. The way we think and process is different. Like, that I think without segueing into a totally different topic, I think it's extremely important for both a man and a woman to have a good core group of, if you're a man, guy friends, if you're a woman, girlfriends, because you go to your girlfriends like to process your emotions, to talk on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And a girl can follow that. A guy can't. He can't listen to a girl talk on and on and on and on and understand and follow, okay, what's she trying to say? Like, he just doesn't have, he's not wired to do that. And so I think so oftentimes we get into a relationship and we expect our partner to give us everything we need, to be like the end all be all. You're my support 100%. I shouldn't need anyone else. And that's just not the case. Like, from dating all the way to courting, engagement, to marriage, and like the rest of your life that you spend together, you really need people outside of each other that you can go to. So that's my plug for community. I think the biggest difference between men and women is that in order for a man to feel loved, he needs to feel like he's being respected.
Yep.
And a woman needs, at her deepest core, needs to feel loved. She needs to feel secure. She needs to feel safe in, expressing her deepest needs and the darkest parts of her heart. And those are like, when a man says, I don't feel loved, what he's really saying is, you're not respecting me. And every man, they feel respect different.
Yeah.
And a lot of men, they aren't even aware of what they need in order to feel respected. It's just something where like a woman says or does something, he doesn't feel respected or it doesn't feel right. And so it's really important, once you have this awareness and you're in a committed relationship, to ask those questions, like, what makes you feel respected? Like, what am I doing or saying that makes you feel disrespected? Like, and really have those vulnerable conversations, because it's going to be a lot more painful and take a lot more time if you're guessing and you're figuring it out by trial and error, than if you have the conversations up front and say, I really love you, and my intention is to respect and honor you as a man, and I need your help by helping me understand how you feel respected. And it may take a couple conversations, and it does take some trial and error too, but I think having the conversation up front and really like getting clarity on what his needs are in feeling respected is going to save a lot of pain and conflict.
And that's what we're all about, ladies and gents, because nobody wants the pain, like no one in their right mind anyway. So I just feel like, once again, I'm in my head thinking of all these different thoughts, but I'm going to persevere. I guess. So Valentine's Day is right around the corner. As a dating coach and a self coach, like, are there any tips that you would give to women and or men in the dating scene, those ones that are growth minded, as you expressed earlier, like I almost want to say do's and don'ts, but I feel like that might be like too easy, like taking something that's so complex and making it too easy. So your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I am not a fan of Valentine's Day. I'm just gonna
Oh,
like, and here's why. We put Society puts so much pressure on having someone to celebrate Valentine's to, this one day out of the entire year, like, let's just love everybody and buy each other a lot of gifts. Like, it's I think it's when you put too much pressure on yourself when you're dating, it really it freezes like the energy, like it takes you out of your feminine energy, and it really puts you in your headspace where it's like, I have to find a man. I need to find a man. I'm not going to be happy, or I'm not going to enjoy my life, or unless I find a man for Valentine's Day. And when you like masculine and feminine energy, like they're polar, they're polars, right? They attract one another. And so when a woman, even if you're not like, obviously you're not going to like say this out loud, right? But when you're in that headspace and you're on a dating app, or you're, talking to a guy or whatever, like you're bringing out your masculine energy, and you're bringing an energy that's very very lack like a lack mindset, lack energy, and desperate of like, I need this, I need a man, I need a man, like, and he feels that. He may not be able to say, girl, like your energy is off, like, right, he's not going to say that, but he's going to feel that something's off. And he probably is not going to be able to express it. So he'll just say, like, it's not a good fit, or like, you're not the right girl. And so like my biggest tip for anyone out in the dating world, regardless if it's Valentine's Day or not, is really to enjoy the journey of dating. Like, have the mindset of, regardless of how this date goes, if it's really awesome or the worst date I've ever been on, I'm going to enjoy myself. Like, I am trying something new. I'm going someplace new. Like, I'm doing something that I like, whatever the case may be, like find something that you love, or get out of your comfort zone and try something new. And you may end up finding something that you love, or that you're really good at, that you didn't know, right? And it can, turn into something really, awesome in your life, but when you come from a place of, I'm going to enjoy myself no matter what, like you're bringing a different energy, you're bringing a joy, you're bringing a higher vibration, and that's really, it's attractive. I mean, people in general like to be around other people that have high vibes, that make them feel good. And when you're coming from a place of desperation, or I really need this, I want this, like you're out of alignment with your natural energy.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So, do you have any new projects coming down the pipeline?
Yeah, I do. I'm so excited about this one. Next week, February 15th, 16th, and 17th, I am having a live 3-day master class, How to Talk to Men with Confidence.
Oh,
Yeah, we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff, including, what's blocking you and getting in your way, creating the right mindset, how to start engaging conversations with men, how to end a relationship in love. Like, what do you actually say? I know a lot of women who stay in relationships way longer than they should or want to, but it's just because they get stuck on like, well, how do I tell him that it's not a good fit? How do I end the relationship without him like blowing up or whatever? And so we are going to be really breaking down how do you communicate from the beginning of like dating someone, like I see a real hot dude, like how do I approach him? Can I initiate conversation? Like how do I do that too? Okay, this is not a good fit. How do I end it? And so I'm really excited for that. And you can register, save your seat at jessicaelundgren.com/talk2men, talk to men. And yeah, so that's what's coming down the pipeline.
All right. Is there a cost for this master's class?
Nope, it's free.
Oh, girl, you should have led with that.
Yeah, sorry. It's
No,
free,
sorry.
free 3-day live masterclass. Yeah.
Girl, yes. Who don't want to know how to talk to some men? And as grown as we are, you are 100% correct. It's a whole lot of us men and women that are simply uncomfortable or don't have the emotional fortitude to know how to end said relationship properly. Like a text should not suffice.
Yeah, right.
So, okay, all right. We're excited about that. February 15th, 16th, 17th. So I know you already gave one website, but I want you to give it again. I want you to use this time to shamelessly plug yourself, girlfriend. Where can my people find you? Give us emails, websites, social media handles, all the goods.
Okay. Well, I think the easiest way is just my website, jessicaelundgren.com. You can find me on Instagram at Finding the Good Men, or you can join my free Facebook community, Dating with Confidence. We have speakers that come in. We have, encouraging and uplifting posts. It's a really safe community of women only, just to share your dating experience. Because again, dating's not meant to be done alone. We need community, we need support, and we need other people helping us, really process. So
yeah. All right. And you said, you said, was it Finding the Men on Instagram?
Finding the Good Men.
Finding the Good Men. Yes. Please add in the good part.
Yeah.
We just want to find the regular men. We want to find the good ones. Yes.
Yep. The quality men. Yeah, yes. They're out there. They are indeed. There are a lot of them. There is an abundance of good men.
Awesome. Well, I thank you, Jessica, for your time. Thank you for coming on. We are not so different today. And thank you for causing me to do some self-reflection because I'm like, some of the stuff you were saying was kind of hitting. I'm like, Andrea, you have to maintain your composure. you are being recorded. Yes. But yeah, thank you for bringing your wisdom. Thank you for bringing your experience, and thank you for your passion to help people do better.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me. And honestly, like, just like what you've said about, causing you to reflect, I think that is like the biggest, most important step is just self-reflection. So to be vulnerable enough with yourself to open up and actually, have that time and make that space for self-reflection, that is really what's going to transform your life and your dating relationship. So I honor you for recognizing that in yourself and doing that. It's big.
Well, thank you. I'll definitely be chewing over this conversation, rewatching the replay and all that good stuff. Because I'm like, man, you said a whole lot. But anyway, yes, thank you. So, babies, y'all know the drill. It's that time again. I want you to flood my inbox with things that you are doing to promote self-care. What are you doing to take care of yourself? What are you doing to love on yourself? And then let mama know all about it, because I want to hear it and make sure that y'all taking care of yourselves. Until next week, love y'all. Peace.
We are not so different.